Morning, everyone. Thank you for joining in. If you guys are new to my channel, today we're going to be doing a live session about some mobility and stretches you can incorporate to reduce back pain. A lot of back pain can come from tight hips, so we're actually going to work on their hips, our adductors, which are our inner thighs, and then a little bit of the outside IT band and piriformis. So these are some go-to exercises if your back hurts or you're having some issues. I'm currently having some back issues, and that's from sitting too long, not stretching enough, and then driving too long, i.e. the sitting. So come follow along. Before we get started, I'll be covering 3 different exercises, but I would love your support. If you feel like you want to support myself and this channel, feel free to subscribe and like. Also, any of the links below support me. So if you have any questions, leave a comment, whether that's about the shoes, the apparel, protein, but this is your one-stop shop for your fitness and health. So I hope you guys enjoy. All right, let's get started. First exercise, we're actually going to get into a seated straddle. So a seated straddle just means we're going to be sitting on our sit bones. I'm going to face you guys kind of center. You are going to get your legs as wide as possible. I like to put my hands behind me, push my hip pelvis forward, try to rotate. If you feel like you struggle, you can split your hands, one in front, one behind, and kind of push those hips forward. So from this forward facing position, I'm trying to keep my toes elevated, and I'm going to try to walk forward as much as I can. Now, if you feel like you can't get forward, or you can't have leverage to hold on to something, you can take a medicine ball, a dumbbell, a kettlebell, anything that's heavy, edge of a couch, bed, rig, and then you can pull yourself forward. So from an angle, I'm going to show you guys what it's going to look like. So I'm getting my legs as wide as possible. The wider the better. This is going to help stretch your adductors, your inner thighs, some hips, your back a little bit. So depending on your pain level, if you are in a stretch and it causes pain, try to reduce that stretch. So by bringing the legs further forward, or if you need to, you can modify at any point. Leave a comment below in terms of what questions you may have. So here, I'm just going to slowly walk myself forward. I can get as far forward as possible. Notice as I fall forward, my toes may want to rotate down. That's fine. Just try to fight to keep them up. That's going to help work that external rotation of the hip joint. So I'm going to stay here for 1 to 2 minutes. Eventually, you'll work your way up to about 5 minutes. That's a good kind of gauge to help you get more comfortable here. If a minute's too much, try 30 seconds. So we'll start here. That's that first stretch, seated straddle. You can also do this standing if you have a very hard time getting down to the floor and doing this. The modification here would be just to get up, get into that straddle position here, and then you're going to hinge from the hips, and then you're slowly going to round yourself forward. This is going to be a little bit different stretch. It will be less intense, but it's also a good addition or modification to that a seated straddle. Okay, back to the floor. Second stretch. We are going to start with our left leg out like that seated straddle position. Right leg's out, left leg's in. This left leg, I'm almost creating kind of a V, a very narrow V. Foot comes to the inner thigh. We are going to twist rotate. So if I'm going towards my right foot, there's 2 ways to kind of do this. I could drop my shoulder, elbow to my right foot. The other option is to twist rotate. So I'm using both my arms to press off my left leg. This is going to help get more of a side bend stretch in your QL and your rectors, which surround the spine, right? So you see those 2 muscles that surround the spine. So you're going to want to push away or again, grab that foot and drag yourself down. If your back is really tight, this is a great exercise to incorporate to help the hip, hamstring, as well as your rectors. You're going to again hold for 30 seconds, a minute, eventually 2 minutes. This is a great stretch. Then you'll switch. You'll do the same exact thing on the opposite side. Sole foot come to the adductor, and then you want to twist, rotate away. So think of your shoulder almost being stacked on top of your thigh. If you're using your hand to press into the arch of your, or the inside of your calf, that is an option, twist, rotate. You can also even push on your thigh as well, but you should feel this in that lower back, side, body, even rib cage area. Again, 1 minute, 30 seconds, a minute and a half, 2 minutes, whatever you feel comfortable with. If you're new, I recommend starting just 30-second segments. So 30 seconds, then eventually 1 minute, 2 minutes, etc., etc. Now, third exercise, we are actually going to do something a little more dynamic. This is going to be like a pigeon pose, but we're going to rotate into that pigeon pose. So pigeon pose, if I drop my left leg to the floor, this is that pigeon pose that we're in. Back leg's nice and long. I can stay elevated or I can come forward. We're going to do a dynamic pigeon pose. So up in this position, I'm going to twist and rotate so you guys can see. Here in my position, I'm going to dynamically move butt and thigh to the side, drop, hold for seconds, then I'm going to come back up to center. While I do this, I'm moving through the slow range of motion to open up the piriformis, which is a small muscle in the butt, also lengthening this opposite side, so getting a stretch in the hip, and then getting a stretch in the IT band and calf, or in quad, excuse me. So we're going to move through this flow for 30 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes, eventually, right? So drop the thigh and butt to the side, and then elevate. Once you feel like you've hit that time frame, then you'll pick your leg up, switch legs, and then again, bring the other leg into a pigeon pose. Now notice on the side, I'm kind of off the floor here. If you're super flexible, you might have your butt and thigh touch, that's fine. Just want you to reach that butt down and then reach forward. That is a way to progress this exercise. If you're super tight and you can't get all the way to the ground, that's all right, go a couple inches and then come back up. But the intention of this exercise is to do it dynamically, meaning you're moving to the stretch versus just statically stretching. Nothing is wrong with a static stretch. I'm just giving you a different option for these 3 exercises for today. So again, you move to that flow, 30 seconds, a minute, etc. So perform those 3 exercises. You could do 1 round, 2 rounds. I'd recommend doing at least 2 to 3 rounds. That will be helpful for your body to help you get a little more of a stretch. That first stretch might be challenging. You feel kind of sticky, can't get into the full range of motion. Eventually, by the time you do the 2nd or 3rd round, you will feel better, I promise. One thing, mobility and flexibility is very hard to gauge. It's not like you're measuring like, all right, cool, I got 1 inch closer to my toes today, or my back feels, you know, like I can reach further half an inch. It is a very tedious process, but that's where the patience comes in. If you guys found this beneficial, I would love for you to share or comment below what your favorite exercise was. Let me know what you'd like to see more of. Again, if your back is achy, if you sit a lot, you drive a lot, highly recommend adding this in. And again, all your support is very appreciated, so feel free to support me by liking the channel, subscribing, and sharing with others. Thank you all for the support, and I will see you guys next week for a series of new exercises. Have a great Friday and a great weekend.